Faces and forever. So fun. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and begin. I just wanted to welcome everyone. And it sounds like we could all use a deep breath just to breathe in the Shabbat feeling that we're looking for, that sense of rest and calm and entering into this presence of our extra soul that we get on Shabbat. And we'll begin with Sim Shalom.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 ya da da. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da da. We will now continue with the singing of Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
And before we light our Shabbat candles, we join together singing Light These Lights. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. I invite all of you who have your Shabbat candles to go ahead and light them with me, and I'll lead us in the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We now continue with singing the words of Lecha Dodi. Yalla la 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 Lecha Dodi, Yalla la 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 likrat kala, Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad yishmi'anu el ha'miuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shemu tiferet Yalla la 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 Lecha Dodi, Yalla la 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 likrat kala, Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha Merosh mikedem Yisucha Sof maaseh b'machshava techila. Yalla la 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 Lecha Dodi, Yalla la 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 likrat kala, Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat nekavela. Hitoreri kiva orech Daviri Kivod Adonai Alech Biglai Yalla la 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 Lecha Dodi, Yalla la 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 likrat kala, Yalla la 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 pnei Shabbat nekavela. Shalom, Ateret Bala, Gam B'Simcha U'Zola, Toch Emunei Am Segula, Bori Chala. לקראת כלה. לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
Vitkadash miraba, Belmad ivrachute vyamlik malchute, Bechayechon uvyomechon, Uchayedeko bet Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, Uvizman kariv, V'yimaru, Amen. Yehei Shmera b'mevarach, me'al mulal me'al maya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Yitpahar v'itramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithalel, v'yithalal, Shemeh dekudesha, Ritu. Nahela bikol bechata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'himaru, Amen. I'll ask those who are able to please rise. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed.
We continue with the words of Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, Umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue in English. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated as we continue with the V'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך וביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue with Emet ve'emunah. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again, we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
How about now? Sorry about that. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Norak tehilot oseh peleh, norak tehilot oseh peleh, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze'elianu ve'amru, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fadach Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'chamitenu shomreinu lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'chamitenu shomreinu lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'chamitenu shomreinu l'chaim, l'chaim.
Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshi Shavi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbehu, V'yitangu mitu v'cha Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Uvashvi ratzita bo v'kirashto Shabbat, Chemdat yamim oto karata Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher l'maseh bereshit Shabbat, Zecher l'maseh bereshit Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. I'll ask those who are able to please rise as we join for the Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agidei latecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibur v'Hanurah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, u'mevii geula livnei bneihem, le'ma'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozer Moshiach u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham ve'zerat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rab le'hoshia, v'shiv haruach u'merid hagashem. מחלקל חיים בחסד, וחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בישני עפר, ויחמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. We'll join together in English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Ritzei, Ritzei, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, Be'amcha Yisrael, U'tefilatam, Be'ahava tekabel, U'tehil ratzon tamid, U'tehil ratzon tamid, Avodat Yisrael Amecha, Baruch atah Adonai, She'otecha levadecha v'yirah navod, She'otecha levadecha v'yirah navod.
God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, u'lacha na'el lehodot.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
take a moment for our own meditations and prayers.
יהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. יהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי.
This week we have a special treat, which is a guest who will be doing our Devar Torah for us. We have Fran Rickenbach. And during the summer, we normally have lay-led services, which gives people an opportunity to participate and do their own studying and reflection to be able to share with one another. And we didn't have any lay-led services. So Fran wanted to give me the opportunity to not preach for a night, while she had the opportunity to prepare and to preach. And so we're looking forward to learning from her.
Thank you, Rabbi. For those who are interested, I'm going to be talking about the very beginning of tonight's portion, Toledot, which is Genesis 25, verses 19 through about 26. So I volunteered to do the drash this evening, not only to give Rabbi a break while Rabbi Tina is doing some very important work away from temple, but also because Toledot was my bat mitzvah portion 27 years ago. Now, for those of you counting on your fingers, would that I was only 40 this year. Not so. It was an adult bat mitzvah. But I was drawn to Rebecca for this portion. Who wouldn't be? Rebecca is so strong. She is the first woman who talks to God. God tells her the destiny of her sons, and she works incredibly hard to make it so. What does she get for all of her work? Her beloved Jacob is sent away from her, and the two sons are seemingly forever at each other's throats. But as is often the case when you revisit a story year after year, you dig a little deeper and you understand a little more. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, the former chief rabbi of England, recently died. Prior to his death, he constructed a full year of covenant and conversation based on his books, Lessons in Leadership. His commentaries are available at www.rabbisachs.org. This week, his commentary is based on an observation by the Netziv, who was Naphtali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, who lived from 1816 to 1893. And the Netziv's observation is that Isaac and Rebekah suffer from a lack of communication. I tried to work the sentence in, what we have here is a failure to communicate, but I couldn't quite. So at the beginning of the story, there's the very important communication, but that's between Isaac and God. Rebekah is barren, a repeat of what happened to Sarah. Abraham never implored God to give Sarah children. And as we know, Abraham had his own problems with communication. Isaac did not follow his father's example. There's a whole nother sermon there. I'm not going there. But Isaac implored God on behalf of Rebekah, and God responded to Isaac's pleas. Communication continues, but next it's between Rebekah and God as the two children in her womb struggle. Rebekah asks God, if so, why do I exist? Now, just think what would have happened if Rebekah had shared with Isaac her conversation with God about the twins, the boys who were fighting already in her womb. Could they together, Rebekah and Isaac, have broken the dysfunctional family model and helped each son achieve his own destiny? God clearly states that there are two nations in her womb, two separate people, and that the older would serve the younger. But Rebekah never shares this information with Isaac. So, indulge me a little bit. Maybe the conversation could have gone something like this. So, Isaac, this pregnancy is the pits. Hey, babe, you were so down about being barren. That's why I asked God to help you out. So what's wrong? I know. I'm thankful to God for helping me get pregnant. Really, I am. But no one told me it would be like having two warring tribes in my belly. How am I going to survive this? I don't know, babe. Pregnancy stuff is my thing. Yeah, I know. So I was thinking, since you asked God to help me with my barrenness, I thought I'd reach out to God to ask for a little more help. You'll never believe what God told me. Wow, I've never heard of a woman talking to God. That's pretty cool. But you're a strong woman, Rebekah. So what did God tell you? God gave me a poem. It seems I'm carrying two nations in my womb, two separate people. And even scarier, the younger will serve the older. Isaac, what are we going to do? I know with twins, they should be born within minutes of each other. But how can we prepare both of them for their destiny? Okay, maybe the conversation wouldn't have gone exactly like this. But if it had, what would have happened? Jacob wouldn't have asked Esau to sell his birthright for a bowl of lentils. Jacob wouldn't have had to steal the blessing of the firstborn from Esau. Rebekah would not have had to send her beloved Jacob away for fear of his life. Isaac could have given the right blessing to the right son, although several scholars contend that Isaac wasn't fooled and did give the right blessing to each son. I leave it to your imagination to figure out how different our history, or perhaps her story, would have been if Isaac and Rebekah were better able to communicate. Now, if you're anything like me, you have encountered times with a friend, a spouse or a partner, a colleague, or a child where your communication was lacking. Looking back, you can probably pinpoint exactly when. If only you had shared a little more, if only you had listened a little more, or even thought ahead a little, events would have unfolded in a very different way. As Rabbi Karen preached in a recent Rosh Hashanah sermon, words matter. Rabbi Sachs, looking through his leadership lens, takes from this portion the lesson that communication matters. Everyone, from a parent to a CEO, must set their task as good, strong, honest, open communications. And by communication, I mean you listen and you hear. This is what makes families, teams, and corporate cultures healthy. By being clear about the rules, responsibilities, and the values and behaviors that are to be exemplified, that is an important responsibility of leadership. Let each of us set the goal to establish a culture in which honest, open, and respectful communication takes place. And to remember that this involves not just speaking, but also listening. As Rabbi Sachs concludes, without true communication, both speaking and listening, tragedy is waiting in the wings. Kain Yehi Ratzon. And I'm going to put a little plug in for Torah study tomorrow morning. We've got 2 options that we can pursue about this Torah portion. And if you want to hear more, come email me at franwr@gmail.com and I'll be glad to send you the link. Rabbi?
Yasher Koach, a beautiful job. Baruch Tehiyah. May we all be blessed from these wonderful words of Torah. Very inspirational, and I appreciate it very much. We now take a moment to reflect on those in our community who are in need of healing. We think specifically of, and forgive me if I mispronounce a name, Vesna Jesnak, Jeanette Patton, Charla Davison Gates, Tyler Zeisloff, Pat Bloom, Ronald Epstein, James Hockman, Robin Kent, Judith Perlman, Rachel Magdalene, Lorna Kundert, Jan Berman, Jerry Butler, Stephanie Noble, Melinda Glovka, Mike Ammons, Helen Fine, Jeremy Wise, Ed Bulin, Harvey Olson, Christine Wagner, Tracy Huddleston, Joe McKenna, Ellen Goodrich, Mark Romanowski, Jerry McDonald, Richard Lieberman, Joel Pinsker, Ralph Schwartz, Marty Sacker, Sandy Sapphire, Laura Holtzinger-Levin, Avraham Ben Avraham Vasara, Bob and Gert Kahn, Dave Bussey, Ron Levine, Jay Bainbridge, Chelsea Smith, Shava Eta, Rory Freisler, and Deborah Seidel, and of course, all who have been suffering with COVID, especially recently, as our numbers have gotten to be as high and as bad as they are. We wish them Misha Berach, Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim, blessed are you, O God, who is the healer of those in need of healing, as we join together for the words of Misha Berach.
Yishberach Avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Yishberach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, and Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with the vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mishberach avotenu, Mishberach imotenu. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. We'll ask those who are able to please rise and join us with Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כיהי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם גלגנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn now to those whom death has recently taken from us. We are in a period of Shiv'ah for Judith Hecht, and a period of Shloshim for Helen M. Bennett. We also remember those who have died at this season in years past. Minnie Bershus, Blanche Belinken, Gilbert Belinken Jr., Lily Sternby Booth, William Bremer, Beatrice Cohen, Morris Cooper, Sidney Donenfeld, Margaret Emhoff, Elizabeth Fishbach, Manuel Freeman, Marcia Froelich, Louis Gradsky, Robert D. Gradsky, Benjamin Greenblatt, Kate Hampel, Stephen Harris, Hal Kamen, Roberta Cantor, Sylvia Katz, Francis Claren, Louis Lamfrom, Joseph M. Lessner, Fanny Thal-Levy, George Lewis, Amelia D. Linder, Ruth Mellett, Bess Menikoff, Hilda J. Mendel, Lester M. Myers, Samuel Roth, Henry S. Rothenberg, Jack Ruda, Linda W. Ruckman, Rosa F. Sajevitz, Maurice Sajevitz, Israel Jacob Saul, Joseph Saul, Adele H. Schumann, Rosetta M. Schwartz, Joseph Seaman, Isidore Seidenstein, Naomi Slavin Schaefer, Benjamin Smilge, Charles C. Wasserman, Bessie Weinstein, Frank Weprin, Rabbi Louis Witt, Leo Younghart, and of course those we list now in our hearts and perhaps pronounce more correctly as well. Those who are in mourning, I request that you please rise first. And now we all rise together for the words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Zikronam livracha, may their memories always and only be for a blessing. You may be seated.
I invite those of you who have some fruit of the vine to join me and raise your glass for Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzoni nichelanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher tziyat Mitzrayim kivanu v'chata ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat l'chaim. L'chaim.
Tonight, Scott made yet another beautiful challah, but we had dinner earlier. So we're going to use this challah tonight to recite our blessing. We'll join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. It's delicious.
Hopefully most of you have much more edible challahs available than that one.
That's true.